All right, we're live.
All right, folks, welcome to a new episode of Custom Action Figure News, a new episode for the new year. Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy
And
New Year.
all right, Happy New Year. And
Happy New
we got
Year.
we got a show for you tonight. We are going to be talking about the Force Awakens, and we got a panel of some really awesome folks. I'm going to start with my co-host Tamer, but I know him better as Shawn. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, we got you back. Chad's co-hosting again, people. Custom Action Figure News.
Woohoo! Yeah. All right, and I'm just going to go around the pictures that I see on the bottom of my screen here. We've got Ellie, better known as Luke Sprywalker.
How's
How are you
everybody
doing?
doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And then we've got Dayton Allen, better known as Sithfire 30 Creations. How are you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good.
Awesome.
And then we have Chad Peak, but he goes by the handle of Peak Obi-Wan, and we're going to have some interesting fun sharing our first names. So how are you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing really good. Thanks for having me.
No problem, no problem. All right, so obviously we put this show together kind of within a week because we've all seen The Force Awakens, and we just want to say right now before we start talking about anything, if you haven't seen the movie yet, this show is going to be spoiler crazy. We're going to talk about the whole movie, so definitely you want to come back to this and download it later if you haven't seen the show yet. I mean the movie yet. So, but if you haven't, then turn us off now and come back later because yeah, we're going to be talking about the whole movie. And we got the idea to do this show because well, we all are huge Star Wars fans, and we've done a podcast about customizing Star Wars action figures for a few years, and so we kind of got the band back together to do a show. All right, so before we get into these notes here that we want to talk about, Shawn does have some announcements, so I'm going to kick it right over to you, buddy.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Let's see it. All right, it's actually working. Cool deal. Oh, that's my Facebook page. Here is the first thing I would like to... Oh, no, the first thing I actually want to talk about, and I can do it while we're here, is I want to publicly thank Entertainment Earth for sending us that Imperial Forces 4-pack. And congratulations to Jennifer Drake for winning said contest. It's pretty cool. I want to say we had more input and more sharing with that one than just about anything that we've done, so I'm looking forward to more stuff from EE. And the second thing I want to share this evening, and I hope you guys can see that, I am going to put together a YouTube video of custom creations for this past year, for 2015. So whatever you've created, and it doesn't have to be just Star Wars, but if you have 5 images, your favorite 5 images, whatever, then post them in here, and I'll include the link in the show notes too. But let's just roll through here just very quickly. I'm not going to show them all, but you can see just people posting some of their images. That's one of my favorite ones. That's I Am Boba Fett, his Imperial Patrol skiff. I'm hoping that's definitely one of my favorite ones. Man, look at all that great work. There's Darth Daddy. He's got some stuff in here. Anyway, you know, people just hit reply and post your images. And Jetpack Blues Tim, if you see this, I want to see that alien spider in here. I think you told me you broke it, but I'd definitely love to see that. And the next thing and the last thing I want to do is give a big old shout out to Zebra Imaging. I don't know if you guys saw these new Star Wars, the first true 3D holograms. They've got a Death Star trench run up as the first one. But I'll include that in the show notes too. But man, is it really cool. And for those of you that like to enter contests, they even have a contest where you can enter. And all you really have to do, as you can see here, you just put in your first and last name, email, and email twice, and put your date of birth in there, hit submit. It's as simple as that. But you could win one of these, and they have all kinds of stuff. They have a blog. Anyway, you can explore their site. Show notes will include that link. But other than that, just a really, really cool product, and really excited to see where this goes. Of course, you guys know the one that I want to see. I want to see the Vader image when he's asking Beerus to report on Hoth, but I won't hold my breath. But the Death Star trench one, that's a pretty good one to start with. So that's it, Chad. Pretty good work for me, eh?
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we've got, Sean's got a little note here. He doesn't know how far off track we're going to get, but I was thinking about that, and I was just, I was just thinking it doesn't really matter. We're just on here to kind of have fun and talk about the movie. So we do have a long outline here that Sean's created that we may or may not get to everything, but the very first thing at the top of the list is just a general reaction to the movie, which is your overall feeling about it. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What stuck out? And we'll just kind of go around to everybody. Shawn and I were already kind of chit-chatting about this when we were setting up before, so maybe we can go last and let our guests generally react to Star Wars The Force Awakens. So who wants to go first? Ellie?
Sure, I'll take it. I'll start by telling you that I bought my tickets through a local comic book shop. So we had a pretty big event. There was local art at the theater. He sold out 1.5 theaters, 1.5 rooms, and we had 501st there. I had a case with some action figures there, and the guys were from the comic shop were showing people like role-playing games and everything. So it was super hyped up. People everywhere dressed up, lots of people. It was a lot of fun. Opening of the movie, I really missed the normal fanfare. But it was a good start to the movie, and, I was immediately, captivated by the look, captivated by the feel, the music. Made me feel young again, I was pretty much on the edge of my seat smiling, most of the time, and, until a few of the, emotional times come, and that's one thing that I really enjoyed. It's a super emotional movie. It brings you around from one place and one emotion to the other. But I really enjoyed it. There are things that I could sit down and pick apart, but it gave me a really good feeling. I don't know if you want to get into specific questions now, or if you want to, shoot around the table with, initial feeling, or.
Yeah, let's just go around just the general reaction, and then we'll come back to more specific stuff here pretty quick. So what about you, Dayton? How did you feel about the movie?
I've actually seen it twice, and like many people I've seen it, I had to go see it once or twice. First time I was okay with it. It was good. It was good. Felt like it was a repeat of A New Hope, and it took me the second time to really like it. I guess it was the fact that it just sort of, I felt like I was watching a movie before throughout the whole thing, and you had that whispers of it throughout the entire film. The fanfare, I missed the fanfare at the beginning, and and that sort of just shook it up a little bit. I'm glad they left it silent though, because fans can enter it in on their own if they want to. If they want to get that feel, you can put it in. Maybe somebody will do that. Somebody's going to do that. But it took me the second time to really appreciate it, and I don't think they could have gone a different way in order to attract a new audience. I think the 30-plus generation or 40-plus generation looked at it the same way I did, and I had to go see it again. But I think that young audience, they had to grab that same type of feel. They had to get that attention going and that excitement going again. So, I think the characters are well done. I think that makes me look forward to the next one. So, yeah, it was a good experience.
All right, and Chad, how about you?
Well, I was super excited when it came about. It was so much fun waiting in line, waiting to see it. Um, I couldn't wait. I've actually seen it 4 times, and
Wow.
I'm going for a 5th time tomorrow.
Awesome.
So being a Star Wars fan, I suppose I'm just excited to be part of it. Be in it. But like the other guys said, the fanfare, that being missing, it felt like the movie started really fast. Do you guys feel like it started super fast? Like there's the Lucasfilm logo, and then boom, we're right in the movie. And right away I was just like, okay, so what do we got going on here? And the crawl was great. I really enjoyed that. Just the whole thing where we got to see what was going on with the characters. It did seem like a retread a little bit of A New Hope. It was definitely had the same kind of feel to it. Where it seemed like it was just playing it safe. You know what I'm saying? But I felt pretty good, seeing it the first few times, and it left me with a lot of questions, and I guess that's why I'm interested, to go back and see it again, because I feel like I did, back in the 70s and the 80s, you're wondering, what's next, what are we going to see? So yeah, it was good for me overall. I really had a good time, but Disney definitely, has a hold of it, so that makes me think, what's going to happen with Disney? Are they going to just give us like we're going to see Finn on Cloud City or something like that in the next one? But overall, it was really good, really good. So.
All right. So overwhelmingly, everybody had a pretty a good feeling about it, and as I said, Shawn and I were talking about it a little bit beforehand, and one of the things that I said was that I totally expected that they were gonna sort of bring a lot of callbacks to Episode 4, especially when you see things like in the trailers, Rey walking around in the desert and stuff like that, and things like that. So I that didn't really bother me at all. I kind of like that. I was just like what Ellie was saying. I found it to be very emotional. It definitely took me back to my own childhood. It was funny because my kids, we all went together. Me and my 4 kids. We put the little guy in daycare for the day, and my 2 sons kept looking at my face to see if tears were coming out of my eyes. So that was pretty funny. And so yeah, I liked it. I did not go in with super high expectations. Like I told Shawn, I really tried to not watch all of the trailers that they posted over and over again, especially like the last week before the movie came out. It was just like, it seemed like every day there was another version of a trailer that came out, and I tried not to get too swallowed up by the hype. So what about you, Shawn?
Well, I have to say mine is pretty much an echo of what Dayton said. I've seen it twice now, and it took 2 showings for me to get over. I don't know. I mean, you guys know me. I'm a big OT person. Not real big on the prequel stuff. So I guess I was hoping for more OT, and some of the things we saw from some of what I thought would be main characters, and I was a little bit disappointed at first, and then even some of the acting by some of my OT characters left me with a kind of like, what? But when I saw it the second time, it did get into me a little bit more, and kind of like Peak Obi-Wan said, it left me with a lot of questions, and I didn't necessarily see that as a bad thing. Like Chad, even on the Facebook group, that we've been talking a little bit about it, and it's like, wow, some of the things I haven't even thought of, and the places they can go, and I guess part of me was a little disappointed that they didn't use some of the established EU, I guess, expanded universe that most of us call it. I guess it's now called Legendary Canon. But I mean, George wasn't even going to use any of that anyway. He had his own vision of where episode 7, 8, and 9 were going to go. And of course, I think most of us see now it definitely didn't jive with what Disney wanted to do. But I kind of agree with the folks that said, I mean, we got some brand new heroes, some great characters. I think they did a wonderful job with the new characters, and a semi-decent job with our older characters, and it did leave me excited to see episodes 8 and 9. And I kind of got to get like you, Chad. I've got to go into this without too high expectations, and just go in there and, hey, we have new Star Wars on the screen. Kind of like, shut up, Shawn, and just enjoy yourself. Stop trying to nitpick this thing.
Well, Shawn, I had low expectations because of the fact that it's a Disney thing, and I was just like, oh, this is gonna be terrible, and then back in, I don't remember, end of October, early November, when they released that one really, really good trailer, I watched it and I was like, okay, let me see what this is like, because I really was not paying attention to the movie at all, and then when I watched that trailer, I was like, okay, I feel really good about this, a movie now, based on that trailer. And, I just kind of like had a, what's the word for it? Hopeful optimism, I guess, after that. So, looks like we lost Dayton. He commented something on Facebook. He said his computer died.
So all right, well, maybe we can get him back in.
Yeah, he says he's going to be back in a second.
Okay. The show must go on.
All right. Well, we got through that, unless you weren't finished with any of your comments, Shawn.
Yeah, man, let's roll. I've got a whole bunch up there.
Yeah, we got number 1 down. So. All right. So the next group of things here is it says, what do you think was memorable, good or bad about, and then there's a list of characters, and all of these characters first are original trilogy characters. So we're starting with the original trilogy characters. What was memorable about, and the first one is Han, which I think he's kind of the, basically the main original trilogy character, I would say, for the movie. So who wants to comment on that first? Maybe Chad?
Yeah, I can. I thought he was great, Harrison Ford. He just did a fantastic job, leading the movie, and I enjoyed him being a big part of it. Or, most people said that this was his film. This was his film, not just for the reason we're thinking, but it was definitely a big film for him. And I really liked him as a character. Princess Leia, on the other hand, a little weak. I thought she wasn't as strong.
Oh man, Chad, I'm right there with you, buddy.
Yeah, she wasn't as strong as I thought she could have been. Yet, every time they were together, their chemistry was just on. They had this double chemistry going. And we'll get into that, I guess, with the other characters. But Han and Leia, every time they got together, I kind of got a little excited inside, seeing them together. Or it was always nice, the two-person dynamic, with the conversation and whatnot. So I really liked Harrison Ford in it. I thought I was glad he wasn't like, just kind of curmudgeon-y, kind of quiet and not really saying much. I like that he got his voice up a little bit, and he was the Han that we knew. you know, he was believable. He was definitely believable in the movie. So that's what I think about him. Yeah.
All right.
Ellie, what do you think, bud?
Yeah, Chad has, hit the nail on the head. I'm right there with him on pretty much everything. I really like he was first a disbeliever, in A New Hope. He didn't believe in the Force and everything, and he's been through. We know what he's been through because we've seen all the films, and he got the chance to say it's true. All of it. That was really cool. Gave me a good feeling. I enjoyed his acting. I enjoyed his role. I enjoyed when he finally got Chewie's bowcaster and was blowing people away.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I knew that he probably signed on as this to be a end to Han Solo. But I still wasn't ready for it. I knew it was coming going in early. And as you saw the bridge scene, you knew it was over as soon as I saw the scene set up. You knew it was over. But I also agree that Leia was a weak character.
Yeah.
They didn't use her in ways that they could have, and I know there's a deleted scene, there's a deleted War Room scene.
Oh,
I've
they had to
read
do that so they could sell us 4 different versions of it down the road.
But so we don't know what happened in that scene that may have made her a little better. But I left there wishing, I hate to say it, but I left there wishing that Leia was the one that had died rather than
Oh
Han.
no!
Han could have
Yeah.
gone to the next
Oh,
movie.
man.
I'm with Ellie.
He could have killed his mother just as well as his father.
Yeah.
Ellie.
But anyway, hey, I thought Harrison Ford was great.
Mm.
All right, Chad.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I pretty much agree with everybody's comments. I think he was awesome. I really think that it was a great way to send the character out, to have Luke not in the movie as much and kind of almost make it like Han's movie, because in the original trilogy Luke was pretty much the main character that everybody focused on, and Han was just sort of a secondary character. And with his absence in this movie, and of course the fact of his family being a major part in the plot, it really was it was like it was a strange thing to watch but it worked really well. And I think that was an interesting and a good way to say goodbye to his character.
Well,
Yeah, I agreed. I thought it was a decent send-off for sure. It was a good send-off.
yeah, I don't know. I had a weak moment and did a what the hell when the lightsaber ran through him. I don't know. I guess
He's gonna pay for that.
Yeah.
He's gonna pay for that.
you better pay for that. I was just like, and everybody in the theater around me started chuckling. I was like that, and it was just like, oh man, the best actor of the movie, they just killed. I don't know. I mean, he's a scoundrel. I'm sure there'll be other scoundrels, but they'll be.
They probably could have drug that plot point out to a second film, honestly, if they
Right.
wanted to. That would have been something to leave as a something to start the next film with. But I think it had more to the fact that happened as it did. It had more to do with the fact that Harrison just wants to be done with that character.
Yeah, Chad, you're right. I mean, I knew Harrison was going to be done, and I was kind of like you guys when I saw the catwalk there, and I was like, oh man, somebody's going to bite it here. But it's just like, oh, why couldn't it? And even if they had to kill Chewbacca off, I mean, I like Chewie too, but it's like, man, leave Han.
How great would it have been if they would have stretched it out to the third movie in the trilogy, and to have another father die at the end of the story. You know, you go from Darth Vader dying in Return of the Jedi to Han Solo dying in whatever this third movie's going to be. It would have been a bit more symmetrical, I think, but it worked just fine the way that they did it.
Yeah, I guess it's just kind of like, well, and then I hear that all the actors signed back on for the next movie, and including Harrison Ford, they made specific mention of that. It's like, so now what are we going to get? Is he going to be a Force ghost? We're going to have flashbacks? Maybe he didn't die? And I was like, oh man, I latched onto that with Abandon, but I know down deep he's dead.
We don't really know a whole lot about what has gone on between Return of the Jedi and this movie, and I would think for sure that any role that he plays in this next movie is going to be definitely flashbacks to kind of give us some context for, you know, everything that's going to happen, and it has happened.
Yeah, I guess. Ew.
All right, so I think we've talked about Han.
Yeah, Han's dead. Move on.
Then Chewbacca's the next one on the list, and I feel like there's not a whole lot to say about Chewbacca, except that I feel really bad that he didn't get to play. What's the name of the game in the Millennium Falcon, the little chess game?
Oh yeah, what is the name of that game?
The Jarajek. I can't pronounce it. Jarajek.
Yeah. He saw what's his face? I think it was BB-8 turn it on for a second, or maybe it was Finn. I think it was Finn.
I think it was Finn. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Finn.
And I thought he was like all in kind of in a crabby attitude because he got shot, and I thought he was gonna sit up and play that with Finn. I thought that would have been a cool scene, but it might be something that got cut out. You never know.
Same here. I thought the same thing, Chad. I thought he was gonna.
I think there's a lot of stuff that got cut out of
the game. Yeah.
Maybe they'll sell it to us 6 times over then.
They probably will.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm a Chewbacca fan. I enjoyed Chewbacca in the movie. I enjoyed getting to see some action out of him, you know, kind of during the raid on the castle scene, and you know, then during Han's scene, he shot Kylo Ren twice, taking out a few troopers. It would have been cool to see him pull somebody's arms off. You know, that would have been awesome.
He might still do that.
The only thing that bugged me about Chewbacca was, I mean, it looked like they'd been smuggling conditioner for that 30 years. I mean, he looked better in this movie than he did in A New Hope, let alone Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So that was a big inconsistency. I mean, I know everybody's seen that L'Oreal Chewbacca meme that goes around the Facebook, internet, and everywhere. I mean, it's like they were almost going for that or something. It's crazy how great he looked.
Yeah, I think that with Chewbacca, you know, I definitely think the look was a little bit wrong. I kind of wish he had a little gray in him, but I think he's going to carry on in the next films. You know, he's obviously, you know, Rey probably inherited him. You know,
right.
Is he going to stay on Skellig Macau, or however you say that, the island that they're on? Probably. I bet he hangs out with her. You know, he doesn't have anywhere to go. But what you said about his look was all wrong. You know, it was just he looked too darn good, and I think that was to make him, you know, look good for younger people. You know, because they didn't want him to look old, because they're like, oh, you're carrying old Chewie around. You know.
I wonder if they didn't want him to look too scary.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, because he's supposed to be kind of like a big, you know, giant teddy bear. You know, and if they would have made him look old and gray and stuff, maybe I don't know. I mean, that's just the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, they definitely Disney-fied him, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think, Shawn?
I don't. I'm trying here, guys. I'm trying. I really am. But it's like Han taking his bowcaster. It's like, dude, use your bowcaster yourself. And he shoots the bowcaster, you know, and whenever the castle raid, and then It's like, dude, when he shot Kylo Ren, let that dude blow up and go head over heels like the First Order stormtroopers. I wanted Ren dead, and wing him, ding him up, shoot that boy. He just killed your best friend, man.
Yeah, maybe it would be cool if it pushed him back a little bit further, like 2 feet back or something like that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people missed, that Chewbacca shot him.
Yeah.
When he gets to the point where he's punching himself in the side, people were like, "What the heck is he doing?" And I was like,
it was a quick cut to that.
Yeah.
But I didn't miss it. I was like, I cheered when he shot him. I was like, yes, get him again.
I did too. I was noisy. I was noisy in the first screening of it. Just making a ton of noise.
Oh, Dayton's popping back on.
Hey.
Hey.
Oh, you hear me?
Yes.
You hear me? Okay. My video is down, but you're just the top of a really scary-looking skull. But that's about all you're going to get from me.
That's okay.
My Mac. I'm sorry. My Mac died, and the charger that goes with it is a bad charger. So it also went kaput on me. So now I'm on my PC that doesn't have a cam. So, it works. So I'll take it.
So what'd you think of Chewbacca, Dayton?
Oh, Chewbacca? Chewbacca, in the whole film, what really gets me about this movie compared to the old ones? And here I am, you got the old guys talking about the old times, the costumes, like in the costumes of C-3PO and Chewbacca look so much more real in the old films. And this one, it looked like, Peter Mayhew wasn't in all the clips. There was an actual guy that was also in the costume during most of the walking scenes of Chewbacca. I saw that somewhere in some report that played it. But he looked like a guy in a costume. C-3PO looked very strange, too. He looked like a guy in a costume. They didn't show much of him, but he didn't look as authentic as he did in that scene in Tatooine in A New Hope where he's walking through that desert. It looked like an abandoned robot walking through a desert. It didn't come off that way. But that's stuff that I'm glad they went practical, and they didn't put any CG and all that goofy stuff into making the costumes look better. I'm glad that they did what they did. So it's just a little nitpick. It's nothing major to me.
I did kind of notice that a little bit too, Dayton, and it just didn't. It's like one of those things that doesn't fully register with you until. But I've only seen the movie one time. So I think if I go to see it again, it's I wonder how much that has to do with the way that the movie was filmed.
It could be. Also it really explains to you that Chewbacca's I don't know what the lifespan of a Wookiee is, but Chewbacca is a pretty young guy. I mean, he's got to be. I mean, compared to A New Hope, he's probably like a teenager in A New Hope, for all we know. He doesn't age much. In fact, he looked much younger in this one than he did in the old one, in the older trilogy. So, who knows? But yeah, I noticed a difference. But again, no big whoop.
All right. So next character. And I think we've kind of already said a lot about this character, is Leia. What did we all think about Leia? And
That's all you're getting out of me for Leia.
Now, hold up, man. Now, wait a minute. You remember watching the old trilogy? Carrie Fisher wasn't all that good in that. I mean, she wasn't the best she wasn't an Oscar-winning performer either back then, especially in Jedi. That talk between Luke and her made me cringe when they were talking about the words and the script and the meaning behind it was really strong, but just that whole interaction between them made me sort of cringe a little bit because she, I think Mark's a great actor, but
he's a great actor,
but Carrie wasn't really ever a very strong actress. I think she did the best she could at her age with what she was given. She's not supposed to really play a pivotal part in these films anymore. This is Daisy's time to shine. This is the rest of the guys' time to shine. So they're the secondary characters.
Well, she didn't really have that much screen time or lines, so.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to, you know.
My biggest complaint is the relationship between her and Han. It just seemed really cold. And I was hoping over 30 years it would have been stronger, but just didn't seem like it even matured. It seemed like it grew colder from Empire Jedi to 30 years later, so they must have been having some domestic problems going on there. Especially when they have the kid, their kid went to the dark side, man. Yeah. They had some problems.
Intergalactic restraining order or something happened there. Yeah.
Probably. I mean, he ran off to be a smuggler again. What do you expect? He said, I'm out of this. You know?
Well, yeah, I think he was also looking for the Falcon, too, because he had it stolen from him. That's kind of like, it's implied that when they were out doing that the whole time he was looking for it, so.
Yeah.
Although it wasn't that hard to find.
No, this piece of junk on Jakku,
Mm-hmm. All right. Anybody else want to say anything about Leia?
Yeah, I already said my Leia when we talked about Han. I went into her, so
all right, cool.
I'm good.
Yeah, I just thought she was not as strong as she could have been. Maybe they give a little bit more emotion. There was some touchy parts, touchy lines when she was talking to Han. I guess that first meeting when C-3PO pops up and breaks the ice, I thought that was pretty cool. But
that was a good.
She was the weakest part of the movie, unfortunately, for me. I just didn't really think she was very great. But I heard she's going to be in the next one, though, too.
What really surprises me is the fact that they decided not to involve her with the Force that much. What I thought, EU really took Leia as in their idea of taking her and becoming a Jedi and having Luke train her and they becoming a Jedi's brother-sister team. And then they raised, they took it in a whole new direction. They just basically said, we're not even going to bother giving her any, she can feel it, but that's about all we're going to give her. We're just 30 years later, she's going to be the same woman she was after Jedi, which was kind of surprising, but I think it was fitting because I couldn't imagine Carrie Fisher trying to play a Jedi at this point.
Well, at the same time, too, you don't want to have too many people throwing the Force around because then it's going to just be like, okay, everybody's just using the Force,
Yeah, it's a Force party,
Yeah, that would get rather tiresome as well, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is C-3PO, and Dayton already had a few really good points about the way that he looked, but anybody, what about you, Shawn? How'd you feel about C-3PO?
I never found out what happened with the red arm.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, don't leave me.
It's coming in a comic.
And
the comic got delayed. Yeah, a one-shot comic book that's supposed to come out, and it got delayed, actually.
What? Well, they work for Hasbro? Come on,
I know.
Dude. I mean, comic. It's like, and
hurry up and wait.
I don't know. It's just like he's got this red arm. It's like at least have this little flashback or something, or have R2-D2 roll out at the end with beating on his other golden arm or something. I don't know. It's just like why even? Of course, I don't even want to get started on R2. That little spunky droid that did all that in A New Hope, and then he's depressed and shuts himself off, and it's like that too.
Well, they had to make room for the little round guys.
Yeah, but man, I'd like to see those two do some stuff together. Well, I think
they are going to.
Maybe we will.
Oh yeah.
So I'll reserve my till the next one, but
we'll have a little bunch of adventures between R2 and BB-8 running around doing little things. That'll be cute, BB-8 reminds me of my dog.
We'll see C-3PO get jealous, and we'll see that angle. Maybe they can have a little fun with that. We can have this weird episode of Friends going on.
It'd be fun if BB-8 and R2 talk about C-3PO behind his back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they make little jokes about him. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
Projecting memes or something. Yeah.
Did you catch the insult right away? R2 comes back on and he insults 3PO right away.
Yeah.
And gets pretty quick. Yeah.
That's good stuff.
All
As
right.
far as R2, maybe, and to the point of him being shut off for the majority of the movie, maybe Luke shut him off, and maybe Luke reactivated him.
Well,
what would have really reactivated him?
Something's going on there.
Yeah, he just powered back up.
Yeah, something's going on there because he had the little thing that they were fighting over was only like what, a 20th of that entire map that R2 had the whole time.
Had the rest of
Yeah, so like and they could have triangulated it or something and figured out where he went if they really wanted to.
Or R2 is force sensitive.
Yeah,
oh man.
Yeah, I actually have a theory on that.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, right?
Oh.
You remember, I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but even in the trailers, remember when we saw Luke with his hand on R2?
Yeah.
Maybe he's affecting him through the Force. Maybe he literally did turn him on from that island wherever he's at.
Could be.
Because he's probably as strong as Yoda, and he can just see Rey, and he can see everybody. He can see Leia without even being there.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, that's a good.
That's kind of my theory. I didn't really like the idea of him being depressed either. Shut down and depressed.
Yeah, it's not really in his character.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
little dude would have been the first involved, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, why wouldn't he have shut down after Anakin killed Padme or something like that in Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah. You gotta think that C-3PO's description of why he shut down, and 3PO can only understand it, basics. He doesn't understand anything else. He just says, "Well, you got depressed after he left and he shut down." So.
Yeah, it's his interpretation of what's happening. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Dr. Phil, I guess.
No.
All right.
So Luke, there's not a whole lot I think that we can say about Luke that we haven't really already kind of said, because he's not really in the movie. He's only in it for like 10 seconds basically, and he just kind of makes some facial expressions and takes his hood off. But I mean, there's a whole lot of things that we could that we could guess about him. So, but anyhow, anybody got any?
I don't know.
Ideas, theories about what's going on with Luke?
Well, first off, for me, the first showing of the movie, when I saw that he was at the very end, it ticked me off. I was going, "Oh, come on, man!" I just wanted to. But then the second time after I left the movie theater and I came back and I got ready to sit, I said, "It's fitting." I'm glad they didn't throw it, because I was waiting for him the first showing to come in when Kylo was in the forest. I was waiting for that lightsaber to come into Luke's hand.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that.
Yes.
But it went to A, and then I'm sitting there going, "Oh," and then at the end I was quite disappointed. But the second time around, even before the film started, I said, it was fitting, because now I'm set up with all these new characters. I know Luke's going to be in it, and I can't wait to see what he has to say and what he has to do in order to prepare Rey for the next step. So it worked. And just my observation at the end was a guy that was just completely torn apart. I mean, he's probably had a rough 30 years. He lost his father. He is dealing with pretty much being on his own with this power that he doesn't. He has to learn to control.
Yeah, he lost both of his teachers too.
Lost both of his teachers, then decided to raise or to bring on Kylo and lost him. Looks like he lost it to a gang of guys, by what the vision of the court Ren. But and then I know he foresees the death of Han. And he doesn't foresee. He sees the death of Han. He feels it. He sees the torment that his sister's going through with it, and the torment. He probably feels torment from Kylo himself, because Kylo keeps getting pulled into the light. He's begging Vader's spirit to help him. So, and he probably is trying to, from his island, trying to reach for Kylo, and then he sees all this bad stuff happening, and the one thing that really bothered me about the film, and it still does, but I guess this is just how government works, is that the entire initial trilogy, the original trilogy, to me, all the work that they did and all the sacrifices the rebels did to destroy the Empire seemed all for nothing. in the terms of there was a new group that was able to reform a type of empire weaponry and a planet-sized galaxy.
I know. Did anybody feel like all the work that they put into that thing and it's just destroyed? I was like, God, that thing was like incredible, and I was like, oh, now it's just ruined.
And I think Luke sort of feels that too. Golly, we just the Empire's friggin' back again.
Yeah.
Here we go again with it's basically a lot of pain in Luke's face when he saw Rey there. I think he was hoping that burden wouldn't come to her. I don't know the relationship between each other. I don't know if he's her father or what. I don't know what that's going to turn into. But he wasn't very keen on seeing her, in my observation. Looking at it.
He seemed very standoffish.
Yeah, like, oh, I don't want. You shouldn't have. No, not that you shouldn't have come, but I wish you didn't have to have had to come. I wish it could have happened. Something could have happened differently. That's how I look at it. Yeah. But he looked good. He looked good as a Jedi, man. As a probably a master Jedi, he really looked good in it. So I look forward to seeing him. I like that he decided just to let his bionic hand just go, just raw, just total prosthetic. You don't need the skin and all that silliness. Just show it off. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I felt the same way about Luke. I just thought he looked great. Did anybody see some of the art from the Art of the Force Awakens book?
I just haven't had a chance to sit down and really look through it yet.
Yeah, and this is a really morbid question. Did Skywalker look blind? When he turned around,
He looked like he was going to cry to me. He
did. But did he look like his eyes were like going off? Like, the reason I say that is there's a great image in that book, and he just looks like he has like these light, like ghostly eyes. Like something happened to him. It's just speculative, really, but I just thought, wow, what if he's blind and we just didn't even catch it? We didn't catch it that he was kind of turning around and sensing her, opposed to, physically looking at her. I thought he was cool. Didn't he have a school? Didn't he have other students? Weren't there more students than just Kylo?
That was the new Jedi Order.
Kylo took them out too, didn't he?
Yeah. So I guess he was like Dayton was saying. I guess he was feeling that too. I mean, did that happen recently? Do we know, or did it happen years ago?
I think it had happened. It wouldn't have happened too far back because Kylo's an awfully young guy, so it had to, and he's still suffering from mommy daddy issues and wanting to and is still having temptations of going to the light side. I think it might have happened like 5-10 years ago, maybe. Possibly.
So halfway through.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I've not seen any timeline, but that was pretty much my guess too. At least 5 years ago.
Yeah.
For the film.
Do we know how many Jedi were in that order, or?
Well, they said, I believe they said something about they killed off the other ones that were there, but the knights that were there, I took them to be other students that he kind of got together in a little gang to go around and wipe everyone out. That's what I took it, but that's just an interpretation.
Yeah, and what happened to those guys? The Seven. We've been hearing about the Seven and all their exploits and whatnot, and now they're gone. It's just Kylo. I mean.
Well, they might be around. They just weren't in the movie.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they could be.
Yeah. That's what I thought of Luke. I thought he was pretty cool, for what little he did.
It's almost sort of reminds me like a Snook came around and went to the academy and said, "Hey guys, you want to be cool? Come hang out with me, man." And he sort of seduced a bunch of these kids to come on over and hang out with me. He said, "I'll give you all kinds of stuff. Just hang out with me,
all
guys."
Cigarettes.
Yeah.
On a 50-foot motorcycle. Hey guys.
Yeah.
And Kylo's sitting there going, "No, I shouldn't, but maybe I should." Daddy always doesn't like me. Dad don't love me. I'm going to him. And so kind of like that almost, like teen peer pressure. And I bet you, Tim, but we'll probably see those guys in the next film because Snook says he's going to take Kylo back to complete his training. Maybe there's a group of guys that's waiting to help him out a little bit, so to speak. Get his head
see
straight.
them almost as like the opposite of what the Jedi Knights were in the Clone Wars. Going around on a Star Destroyer with battalion of clones or what, or not clones, but stormtroopers. You know what I mean? Yeah. And wreaking havoc on some star system somewhere.
Like a hit squad or something like that.
Yeah, like a little like a SS for the Empire.
Could be.
Or the First Order.
Yeah.
So, what I think about Luke?
Oh.
Yes.
I think Yoda and Obi-Wan should have force ghosted back into existence, and both of them put their foot in his behind. That's what should have happened. I mean, here's the galaxy in this, and it's like, here's a dude took out the Death Star, worked through all that adversity with his dad, and finally, it's like, oh, man, and then we get this stricken look at the end of the movie where, yeah, and I get the whole, he feels responsible for the current state of affairs and all that stuff, but it's like, I would have loved to have seen Yoda or Obi-Wan show up and maybe not, literally force kick his behind, but some one-liner about, hey, stop feeling sorry for yourself and go out there and kick Snoke's butt and get Kylo Ren, back to the light. And I don't know.
In episode 3, when Kenobi says the Sith have no there's no absolutes or whatever he said, is something like that. He said you're either a Sith or you're not. And he was going to kill his best friend. He had no choice. He's going to do it. That was his purpose. That was Obi-Wan's job, is to kill Anakin. Luke didn't have the same discipline, I guess. He just Kylo turned to the dark side. He said, "Listen, you turn to the dark side, I'm going to have to kill you. You can't. We can't have that." He didn't have that same discipline. I think it's because it was just literally blood family. And it was just hard for him to accept the fact that he lost control of that. And unfortunately, he let it grow out of control. And
I don't know.
Now you have all this to deal with.
I guess I just saw it as that he already lived through so much adversity, and it's like now all of a sudden, now this gets him down. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, but the problem is that when you take on challenges yourself, you're only responsible for yourself. But once you have other people that you're responsible for, that's when that anguish really hits you. And if he had a school of knights, young knights that he was training, and they all got wiped out by one of his own students, that would be a really tough pill to swallow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's.
I'll reserve judgment.
Yeah, you'll find out all about that.
But I still think maybe Yoda and Obi-Wan better show up and do a little butt kicking if he's still mopey in Episode 8.
I'm curious if he still talks to their spirits, and I think in the EU eventually the spirits have become one with the Force and move on. I don't know if in this whether or not those spirits still communicate regularly with Luke. Especially in the situation he's in, he's one of the few only Jedi in the known universe at that point. Starting it up, you'd think that would be something that the Force would allow him to tap into, but who knows?
I think when Kylo says the light is calling him, the Force light, I think it's Luke. I think it's definitely Luke calling.
I do too.
Every time he says the light keeps calling me, I think it's him for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about some good stuff. We're on say good things. Let's talk about the new characters.
Okay.
All right, so the new characters, obviously, we're doing the same thing here, just talking about what we think about them. And of course, the main character is definitely Rey. So, what did we think about her? What's the what sticks out about her? What do we like about her? So forth and so on. And what about you, Shawn? What do you think about Rey?
That's what I think about Rey. Having a daughter, and seeing some of the movie heroes. I mean, to me, it still seems very much like a male-dominated world until Episode 7, and here we have. I mean, I know there's been other very strong hero-type female characters, but I think Rey, and just like even the scene where Finn's trying to hold her hand, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And she's just so. What can I say? She's with it. She knows what she's doing. She's confident. She kicks butt, takes names, and she's a good pilot. I loved her. I mean, she made the movie for me probably more than any other character, even Han Solo, who I really enjoyed. So I can't say anything but good about her. And kudos to all the little girls out there in the world now who really have a strong female hero that they can look up to now and say, hey, look at that. So I don't want to steal. We're starting to go long, so I don't want to steal too many other people's times. But I loved her.
Yeah.
She seems like a female Anakin Skywalker to me, in a lot of ways.
Yep, tinkering with things, ability to fix things, good pilot, good
She's
fighter.
got pretty much all the same characteristics as him.
Yeah.
And she's also very eager and willing to help. The only one thing that's a little bit different about her is that she's reluctant to leave her place on Jakku, where it's obvious she's a slave of some kind.
Right.
But that's what I took away from her character is that she's a lot like Anakin Skywalker, and I think that was intentionally done.
To me, she mirrors a lot of characters from the original trilogy. Also, like Luke, her wardrobe's a lot like Luke. She mirrors Obi-Wan Kenobi a bit. She lives on a desert planet by herself, pretty much. Her clothing is like a combination of Obi-Wan, as a Jedi, and Luke as a farm boy. To me.
Yeah.
It's just like a combination of those two. She has arm wraps instead of leg wraps like Luke had. She's got a tunic, but kind of the way it hangs in the front reminds you of Obi-Wan as a Jedi in his tunic. Just a great character. I loved her. Can't wait to find out more about her.
Luke better train that girl.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't think there's any doubt that that's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I really liked her. I think it's great that we have the first female. Thank goodness for that. A female in the main role.
Yeah,
she's obviously the main character. I thought she felt like Ezra Bridger with her powers. Don't you? Like
that's a good parallel.
Because everybody's complaining about how she was getting the powers too fast. I thought maybe she knew about the powers ahead of time, and she just didn't know what it was called. She didn't know it was the Force. So, when it came to her getting her powers, it didn't bother me so much. I kind of hope her accent is explained, if anything. There's weird theories and stuff. I'm sure we've all heard them. Of just who her parentage could be, but I just hope that's explained somehow. But I thought she was great. I thought she was feisty, a little feisty. She seems like she's Han and Leia's kid, but I just, we got the sense that wasn't the case, towards the end of the movie. I've seen it so many times. I can't believe that she's Han and Leia's kid. And two, I don't see them going the Jason and Jaina route. I just don't. I think they wanted to get away from that, and they wanted to, completely tell a different story. Because if we knew it was Jason and Jaina right off the bat, they would be like, or we would be like, as fans, we would be like, well, we know what's going to happen now. There's no surprise.
Well, to me, the biggest tell that she's not Han and Leia's daughter is that if she was, then that would mean that either Han or Leia would have to know about it, and you would think that if Han was her father, her mother would say something about it after he died, and that doesn't happen. She just sends them off.
That's a good point, Chad. Yeah.
Yeah, they just send her off at the end of the movie in the Falcon to go find Luke. So
yeah, may the Force be with you. Pukey line, like when Anakin tells Padme, "I love you."
All right. So, what about you, Dayton?
Oh, for one thing, she's easy on the eyes, so that makes it a plus for me. I think she's cute. So, and I do love the accent. Although, yeah, I agree. Chad, I'd like to know where it comes from, because it's something that I guess we'll find out in the next film, because I'm very interested in where her lineage or her parents come from, whether it be Luke or not. I don't know. And yeah, she is a lovable character. Especially with like Shawn said, with the little girls that instantly, like Luke was with me when I was a kid. Instantly, I thought Luke was an awesome guy. Mm-hmm. So girls are going to instantly go with Rey. I think that was really smart.
Yeah, because we had Phasma and they blew out for her. So
yeah, well, the guys got Poe, and that we got we got those guys, and so I think that. I think with the two guys we got, it's a good balance there. We got a very strong main character going on there with Rey, and everything. Yeah, I like the whole idea of mirroring her to Luke on Tatooine. I don't know what traumatic event happened to her at such a young age where she would count the days literally each evening until her family came back.
Yeah, we're gonna hear more about that.
I mean, she's gotta be. I mean, how old do you assume she is at this point? She's probably 20s. In her late teens, maybe early 20s, late teens, early 20s.
I would say.
So 20 years she's been counting the time, and there's
well,
something
she wasn't an
enough.
infant. She was when they kind of showed a little flash of her when she was dropped off, and she looked to me like she might have been 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's what I guess
too. Yeah. And you guys get who she was dropped off with, didn't you?
No.
That dude that was you get
Simon Pegg's character. What is that? Unkar Plutt, the dude that's handing out the portions.
Yeah.
Right.
Who she's left with.
Okay, that's who that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, bro.
But yeah, I think she's a great character, and they're going to be able to be very successful with this. The only thing that bothers me, I hope that Daisy doesn't let the fame go to her head. Like, they're already talking to her. Saying, you're in this spot, people are going to love you, they're going to talk about you, you're going to go anywhere, everybody's going to know you for who you are, don't go crazy with it. Especially Carrie Fisher is telling her, don't go where I went.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
So,
Well, it's a much different time now than it was back in the 70s when she got super famous, so hopefully that will, not to say it's any better, but, different time.
And Finn and Poe just work so well with that character, with her. I mean, they both have their own. It's a great three characters working together. It's going to work well, just like Luke, Han, and Leia. It just worked.
I felt like that too, Dayton. I felt like the Dukes of Hazzard. We've got Luke Duke and Catherine Bach. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I'm sorry. I'm still the same guy, guys. So well.
So, I had a question about Poe's X-Wing. He had a different X-Wing at the beginning of the movie than towards the end. And wasn't the one at the beginning of the movie basically the same type that Luke had? And to me, it looked like an old X-Wing that was all run down.
No, it was the new Macquarie looking one. It was just white and blue, different paint. It got blown up. They landed it on Jakku. They blew that up.
Right.
But then he had the black one.
But the black one, isn't it like a different model? Is it like a newer model or something?
No, I think it's still the scissored tech.
Yeah, I didn't get that sense either. I just thought they were all the same. They were all the same X-Wings. It was also a shame there wasn't a bunch of different ships. There was just X-Wings.
Yeah, Chad. I'm with you.
Right?
Cool.
Well, hold up now. You remember what they were talking about? They were talking about them being it was just in this film. It was just a ragtag group.
Yeah, they're a hit and run group.
They haven't seen the rebellion yet. So we'll see that next time, and there's going to be all kinds.
You can't hit and run too well in a Y-wing. It's too slow.
We needed them.
I think the Y-wings are done. I think they're done with those.
Man, I hope not.
Old technology.
Yeah.
There'll be something else. I'm sure there's more fighters and bombers and things that they have. Yeah. But for whatever reason, I think it goes back to them reprising A New Hope. They're trying to keep it simple with what they're showing, and so that could be it. I don't know. That's just a guess.
Sounds good.
Real quick. What really got me is when they were at the when Finn and Han and Chewbacca got down the planet and they were going to go and go inside the planet, and they had that funny line about him he worked maintenance and Han went off on him. Just beyond the horizon there, you saw walkers down there. I said, please show a close-up of that walker. They never did. It killed me.
You knew I was screaming.
Yeah, I noticed those too.
They almost look like bugs, like spiders. Like they had like tentacles almost.
Yeah, they looked like more of like a pod with legs than an actual walker.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you guys remember that Volkswagen bug graphic with walker legs on it?
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I was envisioning. And it was just like, did anybody but me want to walk up to the screen and just take a quick shot of that and so you could make it bigger later and see if you could actually see any details? Like, oh, man, you're killing me here. Oh, well.
Somebody's got a picture of those blown up on the internet somewhere.
Oh, if somebody finds one, email me or post it something, because I would love to. Oh, well.
So before we move too far away from Rey, I just want to take a poll. How many of you guys think she actually is Luke's daughter?
I do.
I do.
You do?
Yeah,
I do too.
I do. I think it's all the way around, I guess.
I don't. My thing is, I kind of thought about it like this. I ruled out everybody else it could be, and he's the only one that's left. And there's not a lot of. I mean, she can't be Chewbacca's daughter, you know.
Yeah.
So there's not a whole lot of characters to rule out. And somebody said I think it was in the Facebook group that I made, somebody put on there that she might be Obi-Wan's daughter, but man, I don't know how that's even possible. Because
it would have to be Obi-Wan's,
granddaughter.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But I think they said daughter. But I was like, I don't think I could have read it wrong. But
yeah.
That's a stretch, though. That's really a stretch, if you ask me. So you have a son or a daughter, and that person meets somebody, and then that person takes their kid and moves somewhere else. It's just too far-fetched, I suppose.
Yeah, Obi-Wan didn't say anything about having a family that we ever saw to Luke, and you would think that would be something that would be important to tell him, if he's the last Jedi, and there's other people out there who are, family that could possibly be, Jedi, or could be trained to become Jedi, or have children that could be trained to become Jedi. So,
yeah.
Chad, I was kind of like you. Whenever it based on that, it had to be Luke. It had to be Leia, and based on Leia and Han's reaction to her, and no flashback or no nothing or no do you think she knows comment between Leia and Han or something, then I ditched that and said, okay, it's got to be somehow Luke. And
okay, yeah, gotcha.
Yep, see you, Spry. And I just think that fingers crossed we're gonna get Mara Jade, please, Mara.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Mara, Mama.
Yeah, you know, I thought it was funny. I just want to jump in real quick. I kind of had this scenario played out. I was like, she was going to walk up on that island, and he was going to go, "You are my daughter," but and she goes, "Where's my mother?" And she goes, "Well, your name's not Ray. You know, you're named after your mother, Mara. You know," and the whole world explodes. You know, I was hoping for that. You know?
Yeah.
I would have been like, wow, her name is really Mara, you know, and it's not
awesome.
It's not Ray. And then we know right away who it was, you know.
Yeah,
that would make a lot of sense, too, because, you know, she has that accent. Again, there's the accent, but, wow, you know, if they brought in Mara Jade and just, you know, brought her, you know, took her out, said she died, you know, Kylo killed her or something like that, that would be cool. But,
you know, I just heard rumors. You know, I posted this, I think, on the Facebook page, that Bryce Dallas Howard, you know, Ron Howard's daughter, was talking about being very interested in being in one of the Star Wars films. She kept talking about it. She's been talking about it. She's posted pictures of her going out on a date at the Star Wars film, talking about it on the talk shows about being in the Star Wars film. She's a redhead. She looks like Mara. You know, could it be that she could be like in a Republican, you know, be in the Republic and be back at home somewhere, and, you know, talking about her crazy husband that, you know, who knows? Yeah.
Bring in the mother. That would be a new dynamic. You know, instead of I am your father, bring in, you know, I am your mother, or not even that, but bring her in. And
another strong female character. Let's do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
That's interesting. All right, I think the next movie is going to be full of all sorts of flashbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the bad guys got to win, right?
Yeah, they do.
That's probably right.
He kind of already did at the end of this movie a little bit, but
they destroyed their plant, their major weapon. They are stuck in revenge, just like in Empire Strikes Back. You're going to see all the vehicles, the major big-time vehicles. There's going to be a big war, probably.
Better get a ground battle, Dayton.
Yeah, there's going to be a Republic fight, you know, for it. And, yeah, it's going to be one of those films where the bad guys win, which is great, you know. That's why I loved Empire so back. The bad guys got a shot, you know.
Who's getting carbon freeze?
I actually wouldn't be surprised if that happened.
It's funny that you say that. I mean, there is a sense of retread that is borderline scary, you know.
Yeah, it is.
It is. It feels like, you know, they just went over our heads. You know, they know we wouldn't be receptive if they said we're rebooting Star Wars. But if you watch that movie a million times, it's Star Wars. It's just basically Star Wars. All the characters are shifted around and everything. I just hope, you know, like I said earlier in the show, you know, Finn is not on Cloud City and he betrays them, you know, after long, you know.
Yeah.
You know, what are they going to do without, you know, Kylo Ren? I mean, if he's gone being trained in the dark side, how is the First Order going to survive without him? You know, he seems like he's the leader. Is that where what's that other actor that's supposed to come in? Not Guillermo del Toro, but what's the guy that played the Wolfman?
Benicio del Toro?
Yes. Is that where he comes in? Is he the new villain?
Oh wow.
in
Oh
this
man.
film.
Hmm.
A lot of questions.
Yeah. Don't know. He could be a imperial. He could be a first order commander or something like that. Maybe he might not be exactly a Sith or the Knights of Ren leader or whatever. He could just be just a Grand Moff Tarkin type idea. Just come in, just take charge and tear up the Republic. And how long was it between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back? Anybody remember how many years or how many
77
months?
to 1980, right?
I mean, in the Star Wars timeline, when they
Oh,
destroyed, when they were on the run, was that like
4
months or
years?
years?
No, it's supposed to be 3 years.
Yeah,
It's
3
supposed to be the time that they use to make, the films. So 3 years, but it's supposed to be different this time around. So they're saying.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sort of hoping maybe they might allow a year or so to pass in the universe and sort of let things, that would make it more. If they go right from this moment onward, it's going to be a pretty fast-paced film to try to shove all kinds. I just don't know. I don't know. I hope they allow a couple years to pass. Maybe Ray has been training, and maybe they'll do some flashbacks of Luke talking to her or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, it's going to have a lot of. It would be cool if they didn't, but I think it's going to have a little bit of a repeat of Empire Strikes Back going through the film, which is okay with me. But
Add me that list, Dayton.
All right, let's see here. So looking back over at our list, we've talked about pretty much all of the characters that are on there. We've talked about Finn and Poe, although if there's any other points anybody wants to make about those characters, you definitely can. We've talked about BB-8 a little bit. The only one we really haven't talked about too much in depth is Kylo Ren, and then there's a couple of the Imperial characters underneath him. But before I move on to any of those, does anybody want to say anything else about like Finn and Poe or BB-8?
I think they were great characters. I really enjoyed them.
I was surprised how much I liked Poe. I didn't expect to like him that much, and I don't know why that is. It must be because I didn't like Oscar Isaac's character in Ex Machina very much, but I liked him a lot.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Oscar. I think he's done some good stuff, and I'm on the opposite. I liked his character in Machina, and he made me feel uneasy, which is what I wanted. And I think he just in this film. It's ironic that both those actors are in this film because they play such these different characters in this. But he was the Wedge Antilles to this film. He was the guy, the lifesaver that comes out and gets the stuff done. Since he didn't have a Luke flying it, he might as well have a Poe. And I think he's just a very energetic. He fed off of Finn, and Finn feeds off of him really good. Good friends. Instant.
Yeah, they had strong chemistry, didn't they?
Yeah, instant friends. You free a guy out of a POW camp. I mean, it's instant friendship right there. So I'm glad that they made that bond so clear in this film. And at one point, I even thought that maybe they might be Force wielders themselves. Whether they will ever expand on it, there's no coincidence in the Force, like Qui-Gon said. There's no coincidences. But, I don't think they'll ever focus on that. But for a guy like Finn to be able to suddenly break free from the brainwashing and know what the good thing is to do, and then Poe being one of the best pilots there is, and do some of the things he does that just no other pilot could really do. It just sort of all makes sense, in a way that the Force has brought them all together, and there's some sort of bond between them. But great characters, yeah. I'm happy. I can't wait to see them in the next film.
All right. Anybody else?
Where was Wedge, man? Why wasn't he the general?
He turned it down. He turned the role down.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he turned it down.
He was offered the role.
The heck with that guy. Get somebody new in.
Yeah, they could have gotten a look-alike, a guy that looked a little bit like him, a little older.
I could have been Wedge. I could have did it.
Hey, not to say they won't try to. They'll probably get somebody else to play his character, maybe.
They might.
Oh well. Here I go again. All right, keep us going, Chad.
Okay, Kylo Ren. Here's
Kylo Ren.
I'll start off with what I think about Kylo Ren, because I got some funny things to think about with him. But I thought he was cool until he took his mask off, and as soon as he took I thought he was kind of cool. I'll put it that way, kind of cool, until he took his mask off. As soon as he took his mask off, I couldn't take him seriously anymore. And then of course, he kills his dad, which is like, you're an idiot, dude. And oh yeah, not to mention betraying Luke Skywalker and all of that. And then I don't know if you guys saw this, but I posted a link. There's somebody on Twitter has created a Twitter profile called Emo Kylo Ren, and it's in, like, he likes to hang out in Hot Topic. He tries to, all of him and his buddies, they hang out in Hot Topic. He complains about his dad, and talks about how cool his grandpa is. And, like, here's some of the tweets. I'll read them to you. He's like, he says.
I'm going to screen share some of them, Chad.
Okay, go for it. He says, let me go. The first couple of these are really funny. It says, Dear Diary. Today, Hux and I took a quiz to find out our Hogwarts houses. He got Slytherin, I got Hufflepuff the first time, but that was a mistake. And then another one says, he says, "Ugh, parsecs are units of distance, Dad." And let's see what else. Here's another one. What's the word for when your father is frozen in carbonite, but emotionally for your whole childhood? And if you read this article, the person that whoever's made this, they actually made one for Hux too, and they tweet at each other, and there's like this whole story going back and forth of their relationship and stuff, and it's just hilarious. It's great. It's a Verge. It's a Verge article. The Verge, if you know, it's a technology blog. So
we'll put the link on the show notes, Chad.
Okay, it's funny, and it's kind of like I saw that. I think it was the day after I went to go see the movie, which I went to go see the movie on Monday, and I think the next day, Tuesday, I saw some of the tweets posted on Facebook, and then The Verge released this article today, which kind of like. This has been going on all week long, I guess, and the person who wrote this article, which is Rich McCormick, I'll give him his due. He kind of put it all together in a nice little thing so that you can kind of get the whole story. And they call his helmet a Darkwing Duck helmet, and and I was like, that's exactly like how I felt about Kylo Ren after. It's pretty much as soon as he took his helmet off, I couldn't take him seriously anymore. But going back to what we were talking about, if anybody's going to get frozen in carbonite, it's going to be him, and Leia's going to have him put in carbonite to bring him back.
Yeah, Leia better punch him right between his eyes.
Yeah, I think he's got some. He's going to have some serious answering to do.
Amen. Yep.
But that's my take on Kylo Ren.
Spry, what do you think about Ren?
The first viewing, Kylo Ren, I thought, the first scenes, he was tough enough to, stop that blaster bolt, hold it in midair, that whole scene. And, it felt like they were setting up a pretty cool villain. We've seen him in trailers and advertising and things. He looks pretty cool. But as the movie played out, it was just seeing his weakness, and Anakin had weakness, that was torn, from light to dark side, and I don't know. I just felt upon my first viewing, I was like, why did they make such a weak character, really? Mm-hmm. And in Episode 8, is he coming back as Darth Temper Tantrum? Yeah. It's just.
Good one.
I don't know. I didn't like him as a villain, but then I saw it the second time, and I was just thinking about it more. And the more and I'm going to see it a third time, and it'll, I'll probably be thinking even, more crazy things, but you really don't know his story, and everything he says is vague. You really don't know what he means by anything he says,
It's almost like it's almost like what he's
Sorry,
saying.
temper tantrum. That's great.
It's almost like what he's saying is his own lie that he's telling to himself. That's the way he makes me feel when he talks. Yeah. It's like he's trying to convince himself of why what he's doing is the right thing to do, and so he's seducing his own self. But going back to you touched on something. They have to have a character to redeem for this to be a true Star Wars movie.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
And it's not Luke. Luke isn't turned to the dark side. So Luke is basically the Obi-Wan Kenobi in this.
Right.
And that's obvious in a lot of ways, even though we only seen him. I mean, he basically looks like him. So I think that is going to be, possibly something that we see.
Yeah.
But what I was getting into is, upon the second viewing, you wonder, is he more of a double agent, and in hide, becoming a Sith in order to kill more Sith rather than to kill all the Jedi. When he's going to finish what Vader started, is he going to finish what Vader started by killing all the Jedi, or is he going to finish what Vader started by trying to bring balance to the Force and kill his master, who's a stronger Sith? We don't know if he's ever really been in direct contact with Snoke. What if he's never even been in direct contact, and he's trying to prove himself? They always ask you to kill your father. The Emperor wanted Luke to kill his father. So maybe, that's how he's proven that he's going to be a Sith.
Yeah.
By killing his father, because then he does say, bring him to me and I'll complete his training after he does that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And the whole film in general, first viewing, I was almost upset over all the loose ends and like, gosh, why didn't they explain this? Why didn't we see this? But then second viewing, it's kind of cool that you have all these loose ends, because you could talk about this forever,
Words, Spry. Yeah.
And nobody knows the answer, and it really makes it fun to use your imagination and think, what direction is this guy going?
Well, that's the main reason why I made that Facebook page, is because I knew most all of, I was kind of like one of the last people out of all you guys that got to see it, and I think it was Michael Wade said something like, when are we going to be able to actually talk about this movie? and the day before I went to go see the movie, this Sunday, I was like, you know what? The only way we're going to actually be able to talk about this online is if we make a secret group, and only let in people that we know have seen it, or people that just don't care. But I don't know why they'd want to be in the group if they didn't.
If they didn't care.
So that's like as soon as I got home, I pretty much set that up.
Yeah.
So.
Great idea.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure
I just don't want it's like this whole spoiler thing is like really, it's gotten out of hand a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm with Dayton. He said that embargo was lifted today, and that's what I told a few friends too. I was like, that's over January 1.
First time, one of the first posts is Han's dead. I went, okay, I can't. Good.
Well, like any article that even that silly article about emo Kylo Ren, the first paragraph, the dude says there's spoilers in this article, before you read any further. So. You have to have that as like a standard preface now before you can talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked him. I thought Kylo Ren was pretty awesome. I liked how he was really reckless, and he hid behind the mask. The ending of the movie, it left him pretty scarred. She didn't cut anything off of him you see something drop at the end, and you're like, what the heck did she cut off him?
Yeah.
And I found out what it was. She broke his sword. She broke his, look out, she broke his sword. But he was scarred. He was scarred, and I think he's going to hide behind that even more. Even though he's kind of like he is kind of a crabby kid. Really. I don't know. I liked him though. I thought he was good. I thought he did everything that he was supposed to do. I think this whole story is a retelling of Star Wars. I really do. The more and more I talk about it with people, it's Darth Vader, but it's they're building him from the prequels. They're building Anakin Skywalker all the way up from Darth Vader into something else. And that's what I think. But I liked him. I liked everything he did. I liked some of his Force powers. I liked that there was different Force powers for different people, and he could kind of do different things with it. It was kind of cool. But yeah, he was cool. He was good.
I really liked him. I thought that the first showing, I was kind of like, yeah, boy, man, this kid is really messed up. He's really fighting it. But at the second film, I looked at more of a psychological point. I don't know what the age of Kylo is, how old he is, but you can tell he's a guy that has never really had. I don't know. He doesn't look like he's had a good bring up or a good raising almost.
That boy ain't got no home training.
Yeah, he's got no home training. That's right. I mean, look at I imagine Leia and Han taking care of a spoiled brat that's pissed off at the world and stuff, and saying, we're going to send you to Luke, and he's going to train you to get these powers straight. Okay, it's like going to boarding school or something.
Put him in his Mercedes Landspader and
he gets there and he says, "Why are you guys letting these terrorists come in and bomb everything and stuff like that? Maybe Vader had the right idea." And all of a sudden, oh gosh, you're going to Luke right now. And they send him over there, and Luke loses control of him. He joins a gang of kids that say, young guys that say, hey, you want to come with us and hang out with Snoke, and we can train you. He gets drunk off power. He just says, I'm more stable here, and I'm cared for more here than you guys are giving me. So I'm going to go to this group. I'm in command. I have respect. I am strong with the Force. I can use it the way I want to. He's very confident coming off that ship at the beginning. He's got all his troops there. He knows what he wants. He stopped that blaster because he's 100% focused on the dark side. He has all the confidence in the world. When he gets shot by Chewie, he is so conflicted. He sees his father for a minute. He says, I'll drop everything, just go to you. But then all of a sudden, it just calls to him. He just says, no, you know what? I'm in control of my life. This is mine. And he kills his dad. He probably won't realize what he's done until later. But he just reminds me of a tortured young man that's just, he wants to control his life so badly, but he has no way of doing it correctly. He's erratic. He's throwing, like you said, temper tantrums. He wants control, and he's not taking it. I think Snoke probably set him out too soon. It just seems like the way Snoke talked about him, bring him home, and will complete his training. Like maybe he insisted on going out. He said, okay, I'm going to let you go out, but you're not ready. They're going to tempt you. Luke's going to call for you. You're going to have a hard time. He's calling to his dead grandfather, whose spirit is now part of the Force. Anakin's not going to talk to him. Vader is not going to reach for him. I don't believe the dark side spirit. He was saved, basically, in Return of the Jedi. He was redeemed. His spirit was redeemed. So he's looking at an empty shell when he looks at that helmet. He's begging for guidance through the dark side, and he's not getting it there. And I just think this poor guy is, I say poor guy. He's an animal, or he's a brutal guy, just like Ray said. But he's tortured. He just, and I think the next film, I think Snoke's going to get his head straight, and he's going to be a hard nut to crack in the next film coming up. Just like Vader was just heartless in the Empire, just did not sway at all. You saw him start to crack in Jedi early on. because he realized who his son was. I think maybe it'll be another repeat, another like poetry, like old George Lucas says. Something will happen in this next film that will make will be a revelation to Kylo that will cause him to have doubts, and maybe he will be the one to be redeemed in the third film. Who knows? But the second viewing, I really enjoyed the character, and in my opinion, I liked when he took that helmet off. I mean, number one, he has some sort of likeness to Harrison Ford. He does have a little bit of a likeness. I was sitting there going, he does look a little bit like him. You know, it's very convincing that he could be a son to Harrison. But there are parts that aggravated me a little bit about him. But, you know, I looked at him as a guy that wasn't sure of himself, that was tormented, that was just ticked off at the world and wanted, like, that lightsaber you're having is mine. I want it, you know, like a little kid, you know, he wanted that. That's his. So, you know, I think Ray put him in his place pretty quick, which is why he wasn't ready for that. He wasn't ready for that conflict, in my mind. That's all psychological. He was so drunk on power that when somebody actually stood up to him with a lightsaber, he wasn't ready for it. So, you know, but yeah, I look forward to seeing what happens to him in the next film. That'll be cool.
You think he still wants that lightsaber? You think that's his motivation
I think
to find her?
I think his motivation at this point is going to be to find her and at this point kill her. Yeah, I think that he'll want revenge. He wants that lightsaber. He's still stuck on the idea that, you know, Vader is reaching out to him. That's what he's going to complete his grandfather's mission, and that's not going to be swayed. And I think that resolve is going to be even stronger. Because Snoke's going to let him feed off that. That's where he gets his dark side power from.
Yeah. So did you notice when he was reading her mind, he said that he saw that island in her head?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh boy. He already knows where they're at. That's dangerous.
And the thing is, yeah, that's a good point. And the thing is, you know, he says something else to the effect that, "Don't worry, I feel that too. I felt that too," or something like that. Like he's had these visions before. He knows I know how you feel and stuff like that. So I'm freaking out, going, "Oh, she's just giving him the location of everything at this point." So, but yeah, that's going to be cool to see what happens.
All right. So what about Snoke? That's an interesting character.
Not sure if he's Plagueis. I don't know if he's Plagueis. Do you guys?
I just thought Plagueis was a Mun, but you know.
He is, but he could be altering the hologram, of course.
That's true.
The thing to me, when they would cut to him, that you would hear that monk chant or whatever, you know, that music is, that you know, that low bellowing. That's the exact same music that was played when Palpatine told Anakin about Plagueis. If you were to listen to that back to back, I don't think it's exactly the same, but it's so close you would, you know, other than listening to them back to back, you would call it the same. And that just instantly rang in my ear. That it was the exact same music from that talk. So that's what, you know, I've heard the Plagueis theory before, you know, but when that music played, and so many times the music, you know, John Williams' music tells the story. If you just close your eyes, you know, you can feel the whole thing through his music. And that it just seemed like it would be. It's other than that, I thought it was, you know, I feel like there's something false about it. It's not what it appears, you know. Is it the Wizard of Oz thing where he's this little guy, you know, and he's projecting this image where he's 20 feet tall? Or,
I don't think he's really that
mysterious
big.
About it.
I think he's exaggerating the size in the hologram. I think he's the same size as anybody else. I don't.
Yeah, Andy Serkis said that he was 7 feet tall, so. Yeah. So when we see him, he's going to be tall, but I think, that's just Wizard of Oz. He's just being imposing. You know, it's just, once again, it's a retread of Empire. Where you see where you see Palpatine all big. He's just being threatening, you know.
Yeah.
And do you guys follow the guys on MakingStarWars.net? Do you guys follow those dudes at all?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've heard their show once, and they said that that room that they were talking in, they were on a pew. There were like pews in there or something like that. Like that was like the dark side place or something. And he would just appear to them. Like they would just kind of sit there and like listen to him talk. So maybe he just projected himself huge so he could look more imposing, I suppose.
Right.
That's my view of it. That's my view of it.
Snoke to me is just somebody that at this point it's just I wasn't really interested in that whole part, and I just just like an Empire, when the Emperor showed himself, and even when I was young, that was a part I was more interested in Vader. I said, okay, he answers to somebody, that's great, This is the same thing with Snoke. I won't, you probably won't know much about him till the third film. If they go by the way, if they do the same way they're going, it's sort of a repeat of everything, but in different ideas, then you won't see Snoke until probably the third film. I just, great idea, and I understand why they put it in there, but at this point, just really didn't interest me that much. Snoke wasn't that much of a big deal to me. I was ready for the next scene after he was on there. So, whether he's Plagueis or not, it'd be a good way of playing it off. I guess Palpatine didn't kill him like he thought he did.
Mm-hmm.
It could be. There's even one person that said with a theory that it was Palpatine that was survived the Death Star. I doubt that. That's a stretch. But that's a great big stretch, man. That's way out there. But or it could, and it'd be neat if it was a whole new character. But at the same time, it would sort of make sense if it was Plagueis, the way they made him being the one that was able to cheat death. It would make sense. And he does look ancient, and he does look patient. Sit there patient.
He's got a giant scar right on in his skull. You can see it's a depression into his skull. It's almost like, to me, I took that to be either he got shot in the head, or he got struck by a lightsaber, or something. Something where he should have been dead. And if you look, I saw somewhere online there was a really good high definition 3D rendering of his face, and he looks like like his face is rotting off on one side almost.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And I would be extremely disappointed if they just made him the Emperor come back. I think that would be stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't buy that one.
Yeah.
And one of the other theories that I heard was, and I was talking about this earlier today with somebody, jokingly, that EU for Disney meant the entire universe. They got rid of the entire universe, and that this in fact could be Plagueis, but they changed him from a Mun. He's not a Mun.
Not a Mun anymore, maybe.
Because we never actually saw him in a film. It's different in a book than it is, in a film. They could say, well, this is Plagueis. I went into the whole thing thinking, maybe they're not even smart enough to know who Plagueis is, or like, some backstory character. Maybe they didn't always go to the the story group, for their answers. Maybe they were just trying to make a story, and they go, well, we need this dark side guy, and we need.
Well, they don't have C-3PO to remember it all and tell it all over again.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, I don't know if any of you guys watched that Lego Droids show. It's a Lego Star Wars, but it's the droids, and it's basically C-3PO telling these stories, and it's hilarious. It is so funny.
I've seen a couple of them. I didn't see the whole thing though.
The whole thing is just joke after joke after joke, and it's mostly really funny jokes. Yeah, if you ever just want to laugh, watch the Lego Droids.
Shawn, what do you think of Snoke?
Yeah. Just hoping Chab go on to the next question.
That's why I asked you. I want you had a chance to say something.
Well, I don't know. Yeah.
We don't really know enough about him to.
Yeah, I guess I'll reserve judgment, guys. Bad guy, regurgitation of Palpatine, on his big throne. I was kind of like you, Dayton. I was glad when he was done and we could move on to bigger things, but I don't know. I mean, he just did not strike me as the all-powerful, all-knowing. I mean, I guess I'm not used to the bad guys being as indecisive as we saw them in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, maybe that's just because of the EU, or I was even used to like prequels. Darth Maul. Remember how tough he was? I mean, I hate to see Obi-Wan slice that dude in half. It's made just so angry and so evil and so. And there was no indecision. There was no, we got to complete your training. We got to. I don't know. It's just like the bad guys aren't so bad, and I want bad guys, man.
Maybe it's just because it's been 30 years and the Empire has been reduced to nothing, and you got these groups that are getting together, and they finally got money funneling into this new First Order, and it seems to me that they're quite a young organization. They're a military group. They're talking about this. Was it Kylo made a comment that maybe we should be having clones again instead of brainwashed soldiers, and they're still having some problems with some of their soldiers, because it looks like that they've been having to send some back for brainwashing, all that stuff. And I think that maybe it's just because, like you said, they're so indecisive that the organization, everything hasn't settled in. When Maul came back and first, he's had plenty of time, years to envelop himself into the dark side, to accept it, and he was ready to rock and roll when he was released on the Jedi. I think this point they probably got their act together probably 10 years earlier than what's happened in The Force Awakens, and these guys have tried to force things to move forward quickly, and there's just a lot of insecurities going on and stuff like that. So,
I don't know. I'm just not used to my bad guys having identity crises. I've got this awful vision. You know what the vision is. I'm going to control everything, whether it be the world or the universe or whatever, and it's no...
Yeah, it's quite the opposite with Vader. Vader was set in his ways when in A New Hope, Empire. He was straightforward, didn't waver, and then in the third film, that's when his identity crisis came into play, and it was supposed to. It was supposed to be that way. Perhaps they switch it. Perhaps Kylo dies because they can't change him. Perhaps he was indecisions at the beginning of this trilogy, and he's hardcore set in his way to the Sith, and Rey has to kill him, or somebody has to kill him at the end. Maybe there is no redemption for him.
I don't know. Maybe Leia drop kicks him off a bridge or something.
Come here, Kylo.
Snoke. I think she needs to get both of them. Double fist him, Leia. Snoke with the right and Kylo with the left.
She's ready to take him out.
That's what I say. Get them both.
Let Chewie have Adam first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rip
Get
his arms
Leia
off.
the bowcaster and let her do something.
All right, guys. Well, just as a little placeholder here, we're at 2 hours already.
Ooh.
So, and I know I'm not going to be able to get away with too much more time. So,
well, how about we wind it up, then maybe do a revisit? Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say, because we're only about halfway through everything here, and we didn't talk about ships or any of the other characters that we didn't see, or this, that, and the other. So that's probably a good idea, is to try to just get together another time and pick up where we left off.
That will work for me.
That's cool with me.
Sure.
All right, man.
All right.
Let us share the contact information.
Yes, that's what I was just scrolling to the bottom to see. All right, so we're definitely going to come back to this and another time, and we'll give that info out when we have it. But we definitely want to give everybody a chance to share their contact info. So, Ellie, why don't we start with you? How can people get in contact with you?
I guess you can find me on Facebook, L.E. Spry, or The Art of Luke Sprywalker.
All right. And Dayton, it's pretty easy to find you, but you definitely share your contact info.
Yeah, just type in Sithfire30 Creations in Google, and it'll have my Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff there.
All right. And your Flickr page, too.
That's right.
All right. And Chad, how can we find you?
Most of the time, you can just find me on my Facebook page, my Peak Obi-Wan Custom Creations, where I'm still doing customs, of different things. Not too much Force Awakens stuff, but lots of other things. That's usually where I'm at. If you ever need to contact me there, that's where I'm at.
All right. And we talked a couple of times tonight about the Facebook page that I started, and it's just called, I think it's called Star Wars The Force Awakens, so that we don't spoil it for other people or something like that. But if anybody who's listening to this wants to be put in that Facebook group, all you got to do is friend request me and then just PM me and ask me, and I'll put you in. I'm still putting people in there that are like, asking me like today, even though the page has been up there for almost a week now. So if you want to be in there, just find me. It's just Chad Hitchcock on Facebook, and then you got to friend request me. I can't put you into a secret group unless we're friends. So do that. And Tamer, what about you, buddy?
I'm on Shipyards. Still there. Tamer at PureShipyards.net. Drill Shipyards on Facebook. I'm always around. You can find me.
All right. And what about Imperial Shipyards?
Oh, PureShipyards.net.
There you go.
Facebook page, Twitter page. We're there. Come find us. We have a very interactive forums, a lot of customs where I met all these great people. Hope to see your work. Come chat about the movie, whatever.
All right. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it. So from Lucas Clones
and Tamer,
we'll see you again, and just be looking out for the next time that we get together in podcasts.
Partner.
Yep. There you go.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.